Good morning. Today I'm going to be talking to you about revision and an approach that your teachers are going to be using with you this half term to support you as you prepare for whatever assessments that you've got coming up. Now, before we go any further, it's worth thinking about why we want to do this and why we're looking at doing this. Firstly, you've told us that you would like some more help. You've told us that you're not really sure how to revise and what works. You've told us that you don't have enough strategies. And you've told us that you'd like to know what good revision looks like in your subjects. You've told us that you don't like just being told to revise as you don't know where to start. And you've told us some ideas of things we can do to support you further, like, for example, setting specific revision tasks for homework rather than just being told to revise, and using the do now for revision in the run up to tests. Your parents have also given us feedback as part of our parent forums. They've said that they're not really sure how to help you revise, and they'd like some ideas on how to help you and some strategies they could use. Some have also pointed out that some of your younger ones in some of the younger year groups haven't had to do much revision as you've missed your SATs. Really, this is about more than revision. It's something greater than revision. It's about teaching you and helping you with study strategies to boost and support your learning. Before we go any further, it's worth looking at what the research said. There's been a number of studies into the effectiveness of different revision techniques. And on the screen at the minute, you've got possibly the most well-known study by Professor John Dunlosky. This is really interesting because two of the strategies that are favoured by young people and students, reading through your notes and highlighting and underlining, actually aren't that effective revision strategies. Two of the best revision strategies are self-quizzing, practice testing, basically trying to recall information yourself. There's a lot of evidence that trying to recall information can help you remember it in the future. And that's why we have the do now. And distributed practice. And that's about, rather than cramming all your revision into one evening or into a long period of time, it's spreading that out, breaking it up into small chunks and spreading that out. And that's more effective. So it's now time to go through the revision approach, the strategy that we're going to be using with you and going to be helping you with in class and for homework. And that's do, review, and go back through. This is a guide as to how you might go about dividing up your time for revision and study. We're not prescribing a set amount of time for each, but for revision to be beneficial, it really needs to incorporate these three things. The do is doing. It's about doing something active rather than sitting passively and reading through your notes. The review is about quizzing yourself or getting someone else to quiz you on the things you've learned. Remember back to that evidence that we saw a minute ago. This is probably the most important bit. And the go back through is going back through the things you didn't know or you couldn't remember. So let's break that down and look a little bit more about what this might look like. Do. Revision needs to start with an activity. You could write cue cards or draw a mind map, and this might take, say, 20 minutes of work. It's often useful to put on a timer to help you focus. You could write questions based on your material. You could read through, cover up your notes, see what you can remember, check, and then repeat. One thing to do is what we call read and reduce, and that's to take a bigger chunk of information and break it down into something smaller and more manageable for revision. That could be by looking through your notes and creating a poster or some revision cards or a mind map. Part 2, review. This is about testing your knowledge. It's about either quizzing yourself or getting someone else, such as a parent, to quiz you on the things you've learned. This increases memory retention and is known as the testing effect. This helps you to recall that information in the future. Now, this could be 20 minutes. It could be your parents quiz you. Now, parents don't need to understand the material. They just need to ask you the questions. It's very easy. Here are some ways that you could review and test your knowledge. Here are some ideas. You could use a look, cover, write, check, correct strategy. It may be that your teacher's given you a knowledge organizer, or you've created a poster or a mind map. And it's very simple. You look at the poster, knowledge organizer, or mind map, you cover it up, you see what you can remember by writing it down, you then check it against that resource, and then you correct it. You could answer practice questions. These could be past exam questions or questions you've created in your do section. You could get someone else to test you, a friend or family member. Or you could quiz yourself using revision cards. Go back through. Having done the do and the review, you then go back through your misconceptions or your things you didn't know or couldn't remember. This is a way of plugging the gaps and could take 20 minutes. Check what you've done is accurate. Amend and improve what you created in a test activity. Revisit the bits you got wrong or the bits that you're less confident on. Now, as we've already said, you've said to us that you'd like some help with different strategies that you could use. So what we're going to look at now is 3 strategies for success that incorporate that idea of you doing, reviewing, and going back throughing. The first one is self-quizzing, and that's a really important part of the review section. Here are some different ways that you could do this. You could, as we've already talked about, use that look, cover, write, check, correct strategy, using your knowledge organizer or any posters, mind maps, etc. you've created. You could answer practice questions. You could create some questions on the topic you are learning in the do section, and then quiz yourself by spending some time answering them without your notes. You could get someone to test you, ask a friend or family member to quiz you on what you've been learning using your poster, mind map, or knowledge organizer, or you could quiz yourself using your flashcards. Technique 2, revision cards. Revision cards are a really good way of revising. The best way to do this is to use 2 sides for each card, and on side 1 you put a topic heading or a prompt question, and on side 2 you have that information for checking. So, for example, if you were taking history at GCSE, on one side you might have the causes of World War II, and on the other side you might have all the different causes listed. You can then use that revision card to check in your review section. Simply, you look at the first side that says causes of World War II, and then you see, what can I remember? What are those causes of World War II? You turn it over and you see whether you've got that right. If you create a bank of these cards, you can then use them to self-quiz, or you can get a parent or a friend to quiz you on them. And the best thing to do is, if you get them right, you put them at the bottom of the pile. If you get them wrong, you're less confident, you keep them up the top, so you go back through them again. Technique 3 is a mind map. Now, a mind map is a visual way to recall information or to create a visual revision resource that you can then use as part of your review testing activity. Now, as part of these techniques, some of your teachers are going to be preparing some little videos to help you and support you with this. And on the screen in front of you, you've got a video, just a screenshot from a video that Mr. Hughes has prepared that we're going to send out to you in the next week or so. Once you've created your mind map using your revision notes, you can then use that as part of your review section to self-test. You could get a friend, a parent to quiz you on the information in the mind map. Or you could turn your mind map over and you can see what you could write down and what you could remember. Turn it back and then go back through the bits you are less confident on. So those are 3 really good strategies that all incorporate that do, review, and go back through. And I want to talk to you about next steps and what's going to be happening from this point forward. Now, this term, you're all going to have tests or assessments, and your teachers are going to help you by looking at how these strategies work in their subjects that they teach you, and by setting you revision tasks for homework. Now, don't worry if you find this hard. That's natural. If it is hard, it's because you're having to learn it. So do be kind to yourself. The more you use these strategies, the better you will get at learning the material. And the more times you revisit the things you've learned, the better you will know it. Little and often is the key. Some of your teachers, as I've already said, will be preparing short video clips on how to use the strategies and how to use a knowledge organizer to self-quiz and how to create a mind map or how to create revision cards. These are going to be shown to you over the next few weeks at Tutor Time and will also go on our website. You can see here a screenshot of the first one that has been produced by Mr. Hughes. As part of this as well, your teachers are going to be supporting you with these techniques by creating special do-nows that focus on revision. And you can expect in the 2 weeks that run up to your assessments this half term that your teachers are going to be using these special do-nows with you. As part of that, they'll be talking through how you use these revision techniques, and they might be setting you some tasks for homework as well. How can your parents help? I think it's really important that you involve your parents in your revision, but asking them to quiz you using the mind maps, flashcards, or other resources that you've created in the do section. Remember that self-quizzing, that testing is really, really, really important to enable you to help remember that information, to recall it in a test or another situation. Good luck, everyone. And remember, if you need any help, please speak to your teachers, your tutor, your college leader, or me, Mr. Payne. We're here to help, and we really welcome your feedback, but we also welcome your questions if you want any more help and want any more information. Good luck.